normal. And I don't mean like you normally do, I mean like even better.
You can turn and say hi to the camera though. Say hi to class.
Act regular.
You better me to control
For
myself.
just an hour, and then you can let it all out in language arts. Just kidding. So, your job this morning is to be following along, paying attention, participating. And Mr. Wally's going to like explain our purpose this morning and give us our direction.
So you all know that the week has been going like this. You learned about Native American cultures on Monday and Tuesday, correct? Right? Nod, yeah, thumbs up. Okay. And then yesterday we learned about why Europeans decided to come to America with those skits, correct? Which I gotta tell you guys, those were awesome. And they were hilarious, and you guys are funny, and I was impressed about how you guys work together. And so that was pretty cool, I thought. Good work. And today, what we're going to learn about is the Europeans are coming to America for all those reasons we talked about. What were some of those reasons again? Christianity. That's your favorite one, right?
Yeah, your boy Jesus, right?
Yeah. Okay. Knowledge, very good. Anything else? Well,
to get like gold, other styles.
you got it. Yeah, go ahead.
Spices.
Yep.
Fur.
Yes.
Weed.
So that's good. We got a lot of them.
Empire.
Empire. So they're coming to America for all those things. So we know the Native Americans are there because we learned about them. We know the Europeans are coming. So what's going to happen? They're going to meet, and they're way different. So what we're going to we're going to figure out what happened. Before we do that, because we're going to do that in a reading that has some complicated words in it, we're going to learn the vocabulary that's going to help us read, just have it be a little clearer and have you guys, maybe understand it more. And I was thinking about cultural differences amongst people as I was kind of thinking about this. And I wanted to share just a personal story before we start, just to kind of like give it some relevance. Because cultural differences and meeting new people are it happens every day of your life, right? And Kiara is here today to help me just teach for like 2 minutes. Because when she and I met, I was up here talking and meeting people and going around and like trying to meet all you guys. And I said something along the lines of, there was a black guy or girl doing this. I'm a white guy, it's no secret. And I said there was a black, and anyways, and Kiara stopped me and goes, well, you want to come up and tell the story? And so it was just you have to come teach now. And it was a really kind of just like important moment where she kind of was like, Mr. Wally, that's not the way I like to be addressed. And kind of just tell kind of what happened there.
He said a black girl and a black guy were like playing around in the hallways, and I was just like, wait, hold on, guys. Black is a color, but it's actually not. And I was just like, I don't like being called black. I prefer people of color or African American. Preach, girl, preach.
Right? Totally legitimate. I'm a white guy. And so the point is, thank you.
You're welcome.
So the point is that people of different cultures and different backgrounds meet all the time. That still happens today, just like the Native Americans and the Europeans. And there's misunderstandings, or there's people that need to talk through things. And I just think that that's important for you all to realize and to be aware of, and that it's not a negative thing. But as you're learning this was how many years ago?
At least 2, so.
So anyways, it happened back then, it happens today. So as we're learning these words to learn about the cultural differences between Native Americans and Europeans, just think about that. All right, so everybody has their organizers out, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, Rocky.
Do they call Native Americans by a different term now? They just had a day instead of calling it Columbus Day. It was.
They called it Indigenous Peoples Day. Did everybody see that?
They did there first, right?
So that's constantly changing too. Good point. Thank you. So everybody have their organizers out. We're going to start going over the words. The first word is decimate. And as you can see, it means to totally destroy. Does everybody understand what that means?
Yeah.
Does anybody know what this picture is?
Yep.
What is it?
Curry something seed.
Did everybody hear about the explosion in Sun Prairie that happened a few months ago?
Yes.
That was a few months ago?
That's before and that's after. Decimate means it's totally destroyed. You'll see the before picture and the after picture when the town and that area is decimated. Isn't that kind of crazy?
Well,
Yeah.
it was faded into completely destroyed.
With a C4, brother.
Your guts impact.
It means, yeah. Yes, it does. So anyways, just when as we're reading, you come upon the word decimate. This explosion in Sun Prairie, everybody knew about. I thought it was kind of a good example, a relevant example today to kind of think about. Chris, if you go to the next one. You can write down the definition or put a symbol or something for you to recognize or remember the word. If it's easiest for you to write the definition, do that. If it's easiest for you to put a symbol, do that. If it's easiest for you to say Sun Prairie explosion, do that. The next word, vocabulary word that we're going to come upon in the reading is dwelling. Dwelling, the definition from the dictionary, is a structure to live in, often a simple structure. You see here, there's nothing fancy about that. Yeah, right? It's a nice house. There was nothing fancy about the dwellings that the Native Americans and Europeans had 400 years ago. Does anybody have any questions about dwelling? What it means, what it is?
Isn't it also like an adjective?
What's that?
Isn't it also like an adjective?
It's dwell is a verb.
Yeah, you're right. So this is the noun one. This is like the thing, and then there's also like stop dwelling in the past.
Oh yeah.
You know, but thinking about the same thing and you're stuck and you won't move on. That's the verb.
Good point. Chris, let's do that. Primitive. Does anybody know what that is?
It's a Walkman. Yeah, it's a
You guys have seen one of those
Yeah.
before?
Yeah.
I haven't seen one in 20 years. So primitive means not very advanced or simple. So that's kind of what a Walkman is these days.
What is this?
And what we're gonna notice is that the Europeans are gonna like make some judgments about the Native American people, and they're gonna use all sorts of like really awful kind of language, like
Yeah.
call their civilizations primitive, even though the Native Americans had been living in, you know, civilizations that were really sophisticated and sometimes more sophisticated than the European settlements.
Mm-hmm.
But the Europeans thought that because they had guns or because they thought their religion was the right one, they're going to use words like this to describe the natives.
Yeah. So they're going to assume that their culture is not very advanced and simple. So that's the definition of that. So we come upon that in the reading. Chris, can you go to the next word, please?
Oh.
Encounter. The Native Americans and the Europeans are going to encounter one another. The dictionary definition is a verb. It means to find, meet unexpectedly, and usually not super happy to see them. See an alien? Would you rather encounter an alien or an alligator? In the middle of the street?
Alien.
Really?
An
alligator.
Yeah, you just don't know.
I think
An
an
alligator probably
alligator
needs to learn They'll probably call us primitive.
But either way, when you unexpectedly come upon something like that, it's a little jarring or a little shocking. So, yeah.
This isn't like when you see your teacher at the supermarket.
Yes,
Yeah.
I saw this
Well,
one
actually,
at
this is
Costco.
better.
I saw Miss Milka at Target, and I said hi, she just went hi, and then just sprinted down.
Yeah.
Everybody have that in the organizer?
That's an encounter right there.
Everybody has that?
No, just wait.
You guys take as much time as you need. You done?
Go back.
Okay.
Excuse me.
Yeah. Sorry.
Crystal.
Mom?
The next one.
Next. I hate this.
Do a thumbs up if you're good. Are we good?
Next.
Good? Jared, good?
No.
Wait, who was that?
I got you here.
It's what? There's a fight. Yeah, do you see her like
Yeah.
bruise?
On top of the Caribbean.
Who's on the left?
Caribbean.
That's maybe a part of
And we all know that they're incompatible,
That's so good.
which means not able to live together in peace. Does that make sense?
Yes, it do.
We know Nikki's already got problems.
Who won the fight?
Carnegie.
No,
I said
no, he won.
No, they didn't fight. They didn't fight. Who said
Does
that?
everybody understand though that that means not able to live together in peace?
Like the stereotyping of cats and dogs.
You got it. Good example.
Tell me when you're done.
Oh my
Yeah, when you're done, just thumbs up. Derek?
Whoa.
Yeah.
Coexist.
Tens, it says tens.
That means to live together in peace.
He's really embracing that hug, though.
Yeah.
That's a little.
And they're kind of famously friends now and able to coexist. When there was a time in history when they were, I would say, political enemies. And now they're buddies.
No, it's stealing more than that.
I don't think it's romantic.
It's,
Yeah, where's Obama in all this?
I have the inside scoop. It's not romantic.
An inside
His
scoop.
sources
Yeah,
say.
my sources tell me.
Were you there?
Obama tell you that?
It's like that picture.
Barack tell you.
Bob Ross.
Yeah, I took it. So coexist again means to live together in peace. Does everybody understand that?
Next!
You got it. Next, please. The next word is alliance. That's an agreement made between two groups to work together for a common goal. Does that make sense?
So it's not really friends, which is like a true companionship or you really enjoy each other's company. This is kind of like that working agreement that countries might have with each other, or
Like we won't bomb you if you don't bomb us.
yeah, right.
You got
It's
it.
an alliance. We don't really like each other, but we've got a common goal, which is not getting blown up in that case.
Yep.
What is the left person's flag? I can't tell.
It's the EU.
The what?
EU.
Thanks for knowing
Good
stuff.
job, guys.
What's
Here you
that?
go.
European Union.
Oh, okay.
Does that make sense? Everybody have that?
No.
Okay. Take your time.
Yeah.
Wait,
Derek,
I have
sorry,
it.
again.
Go.
I have very fucking
Uh-huh. Move somewhere else. Crystal, change it.
Not yet. Just wait for Derek.
Uh-huh.
We're working together,
Change it.
getting through it.
Oh, it is.
You don't have to write down the actual definition. For you to
I don't
say-
like Stranger Things.
For you to remember. You don't like Stranger Things?
Is that
You're weird. I don't
What
know
about
about
that?
that. Thing, Bill.
I tried to watch the first episode.
Yeah, no, but like,
and I was bored.
Well, Stranger Things is that. Oh, I'm dead.
Oh my god.
So
Be
beautiful.
honest, that was
They've been this whole time building a character.
I love
So
Joe
just
Stop.
He could have got
As everybody, yes, I agree. As everybody can tell, so the vocabulary word for this though is level playing field.
I mean, as soon as Bob was in shoes, I knew.
And that means a situation where both sides have a fair chance of success.
They want to do it.
Yeah.
So think about that in the context of the European Americans coming over to America and encountering the Native Americans. We'll find out, Chris.
There you go.
Start thinking about that, though. That's good. That's good. Start thinking about that. And the picture,
But they have
not
guns.
level, much more level, right?
Who's it?
Go.
They go.
Oh,
Let's take another 20 seconds. Can we cue back down, Chris?
why?
Because we have to wait for people.
Wait, go back.
You think everybody's done?
Go back.
Everybody good?
Yep.
Yeah.
We ready to move on?
Yep.
Okay, next one.
No.
The next word is reservation. You've all heard that, right? The definition is a piece of land set aside for Native Americans or indigenous people. And just a fun fact about the reservations in Wisconsin, Native Americans can choose to live on the reservation and have control of their government, or they can integrate into mainstream America. Does that make sense?
What if they're
What's that?
What if they're going against the rules?
That's okay,
That's okay.
because
so
they're
they-
governed by those rules in that
Can
reservation.
you just
Bad
go
service.
to a reservation? Will.
But it's fine, but they're reservation.
So they have like sovereignty over their own
Yeah.
like courts and things like that.
Yeah. They have their own laws. Me and Sri Jan learned in our activity yesterday, the Ho Chunk Nation has their own laws and their own system of government. Remember that, Sri Jan? That was fun.
So if I murder someone.
Fatima, what's up?
Can you go back to the third one?
The third slide.
I got you, team. I'll just come over.
Not very advanced or
Remember what word it was?
Primitive.
What was it?
Primitive.
Primitive. Yeah, well,
So if I murdered someone on one of the
Let's
reservations,
catch her.
what would
How
happen?
you
you would be tried according to their court
Let's
system.
catch her.
Well, what if I knew the guy?
Oh my. I'm not taking one.
You would go to jail for a long time. Don't do it. If you're thinking about it,
From
don't
what?
do it.
What if it's Quinn?
Will, if you're planning on doing it,
If you murder somebody, you
I'm the victim.
I was fighting.
Oh,
move. Stop talking to me.
I'm just catching
Good question.
Move along, man.
You have to
Does
just.
everybody understand reservation? Let's try to focus up. Last word, I believe. Piece of land set aside for Native Americans. Does everybody have that in their organizer? Thumbs up. We good back there? Guys good? Everybody good?
Here's the words above. So make a prediction.
Next one.
What do you think will happen?
Next, please.
Oh, there's more.
Okay, now, we went through all the words, right? We're in a good place. We have an understanding, at least, of what the more difficult words are. Using those words, right? Take 3 of the words and make a prediction about what you think will happen when the Europeans come in contact with the Native Americans when they come across. Does that make sense? You have a box on your sheets. Fatima, you need some help? Does that make sense to everybody?
I get it.
Okay.
So using the words that we went through, make a prediction in the box about what you think's going to happen when the Europeans come in contact with the Native Americans.
What do you think is gonna happen?
What do I think is going to happen? I know what's going to happen.
Then tell us.
No, there's not a right or wrong answer.
There's not, this is your opinion. Yeah, Kaya.
I think they're gonna fight.
Can you do like a synonym for like the coexistence? Could you do coexist?
Yeah.
Yes,
You
totally,
can
yeah.
change the word form.
Yep. Good question. Good question.
And they will die.
Maybe. You could use the word destiny.
Thank you.
You're welcome. I'm gonna give me a quick water break.
You are good. How's everybody doing?
Oh, please don't have these two here.
Good? You good?
Why don't you say because they can't coexist?
Co-teacher, you're back.
You're just gonna say this, I think, how I will.
Yes,
I'm literally gonna throw up. I started already week today. I got dizzy and jammed between questions.
I'm fine, I don't think anything.
Hey, clarification, you don't need to put the 3 words into the sentence, just use the 3 words to make, or use 3 words to make a prediction.
Oh. Wait,
Oh.
no, it says use at least 3 of the words above.
I might first move out my bag back here, but
Wait. Decimate dwellings?
I'm done.
You can have it.
That's really good.
That's it.
Because I was driving by a person, just like
That's really good.
You double.
Do you have anything you want to share?
see you on Jeffy single point. Because then next time.
Do you have anything you want
I
to share?
forgot like how awful that was.
I know you did a
I
good
haven't done it now.
Although it's supposed to be fixed.
Draw, how many minutes are we at?
I use all the words
They waited just for you to leave.
20.
You can stop.